Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today I have a at-home patient lift crane, I guess you want to call it, gantry. So let me spin it on its side. And it's not super heavy, but definitely probably a two-person lift. And I wanted to show you the box so you get a general idea of how it arrives. And let's open it up and then we'll bring it into the house and we'll try it out. It has a capacity of about 400 pounds from what I remember reading on it. So it should be able to help most people out pretty well. And you can use it to help get a patient into bed or into a chair, wheelchair, etc. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so that is the inside of the box so far. So that looks like that is what you're going to be using to cradle someone in. All right, so it looks like that is the power pack for this. And you got some cable connections there. Flip this up over so I can carefully get more of this foam out of the way. Okay. All right. That's one big box of stuff. Here's some more parts. I think I'm going to keep that in here till we get inside. So again, that's some caster wheels on it, and there's a lot of parts and pieces that we have to get unfolded from here. But it looks like this is going to be like the main crane part. It goes up into position. So I'm going to get some of this bubble wrap stuff off. Then we'll bring it inside and we'll be back. So stay tuned. Okay, so this shipping, well, it's actually not a shipping bolt, but that's how it is positioned for shipping. So you got to unbolt that from the one side, and then this will lift up, and then you're going to put that bolt through there. I'll show you after. Need two hands for that, so hang on. Okay, so this whole piece basically goes on, you line it on the tracks, and then you basically kind of like push it down into place. Then that's how it sits. Your battery disconnects with this little handle under here. And then to set the controllers up, basically you're going to have this bottom part which activates the spreading of the legs on that bottom piece. So you want to mount that. You want to mount that into the M2 facing this way, and you want to make sure that you push down so it kind of comes flush with that. Then you have the crane motor, which is going to be here, so that goes into M1. Same thing, you push down and give that a good push so it sits flush, and it is a little tight with that little O-ring. And then you have your handset, which is right here, and you want to line that up like this. Same thing, push it down until it's basically flush. Double check all the cabling, and then you basically want to flip this back up and then put this down on the track again. Make sure your cables are kind of clear. And then this is your emergency stop button here. So up is engaged, and then that basically kills the power instantly. And then this is your hand controller. So this will control the crane motion up, as you can see. Crane motion down. And then this, when we pull it out, I'll show you what it does with a chair. So stay tuned for that second part. To charge this is your charge port here. So just open it like that. This plugs in, and then push in. Make sure it makes kind of like a small click. And then you plug into your wall outlet. And then it'll show your battery progress here. So in this case, we have about 3/4 of a charge, and it's charging. And it will also give you an indication that it's charging here on the hand controller as well. Okay, so if you have a situation where you have a wheelchair or a chair, you want to use this function here on the control pad, and then this one will basically, when you press on that, will actually widen the stance. And then you can maneuver that into place. So if you have to get somebody that is sitting in a chair or a wheelchair, you have the ability to be able to do that. Okay, so this is the seated position, and what you are doing with these are you're putting them crisscross to hook onto here. So that's that leg, then that is this leg. So depending, so you have some adjustment here. You have the green, yellow, and red. We're going to use the yellow since that kind of lines up for what we got. And then I will have my camera assistant raise me up. Ready? Okay, and here we go. Just to give you some info, I'm 200 pounds and I'm 5'8". And this basically is lifting me up pretty easy. So now I'm like completely suspended and out of the chair. So we're going to lift it up kind of high so we can get closer to the bed. And let's probably stop right about there. And then we'll get into position. That way we're not too high and too awkward. And then she'll get me into position, and then we'll lift up higher so we can safely get into bed. Okay, so my camera person, who's my wife, is basically moving the legs in and basically pushing me into position. So I'll try to get this wider. So very easy to push, right? Okay, now she's going to maneuver me closer to the bed. All right, we're going to reposition the camera angle so you can see from the side. And again, everything's nice and supported. And then there you go, completely off the bed. And again, you can angle this, and this does rotate. So if you wanted to get better positioning for your patient or your loved one, you can easily do that. So you can kind of like maneuver this around, have their legs swing over on this side, and have them sideways so it's easier to get them into bed or up from bed. Anyway, Brian from Garage Mahal, thanks for watching, and be safe out there.